The twin suns of Voron Prime hung low in the orange sky, turning the dusty air into liquid gold. The ground shimmered and the wind carried strange sounds from the forests, growls, chirps and echoes that no human on Earth had ever heard. Eli Vance, a young human mechanic, stood near the alien camp with a tired look. He had been working for 6 months with the Voron, a proud and mysterious alien race. They were taller than humans, their skin a pale silver, and their eyes glowed faint blue. Eli was one of only a few humans allowed to live here, helping the Voron repair old machines left from their wars. He liked the planet. It was wild, dangerous, and beautiful. But the aliens were cold. They followed rules Eli could not understand. Every act had meaning. Every word carried weight. Eli's supervisor, an older alien named Torin, often warned him, "Never touch the Voron's beasts. They are not animals. They are part of their souls." Eli always nodded, though deep down, he didn't fully believe it. One afternoon, the air grew heavy with rain. Eli walked near the training field to check the solar engines. Then he heard a deep growl, not angry but pained. Behind the energy fence lay a massive creature almost 3 meters tall, with dark fur and armored scales. Its claws dug into the mud as it tried to lick its own wounds. Steam rose from its body. It was Drakthar, the personal guardian of Lyra, one of the most respected young warriors of the Voron. The creature looked terrifying, yet in its eyes Eli saw exhaustion. He took a step closer. "Hey there." "Easy, big guy." Drakthar let out a soft rumble, almost like a growl mixed with a sigh. Mud and dried blood covered its side. Eli could see infection forming. He hesitated. He remembered the warning, "Don't touch the beasts," but the creature looked like it was suffering. "I can't just watch you like this," Eli whispered. He went to the storage shed and found a bucket, warm water, and cleaning foam. As he approached, Drakthar sniffed him. The smell of metal and oil filled the air. For a moment, their eyes met, human brown against alien gold, and something silent passed between them. Eli knelt down and slowly began to pour water over its fur. Steam rose where the water touched. Then he used his hand to spread the foam. The thick mud started to slide away, revealing the creature's real color, deep silver with streaks of blue beneath. Drakthar stayed still. Its breathing slowed. The creature even made a low sound, something close to comfort. Eli smiled. "You just needed a good wash, huh?" But then a sharp voice echoed from behind. "What are you doing?" Eli froze. Lyra stood a few meters away. Her long dark hair floated slightly as if charged with energy. Her eyes, glowing violet, locked on the scene. The human kneeling beside her sacred companion, hands covered in soap and water. For a moment, the world went silent. Then she screamed, "Stop!" Eli jumped back, the bucket falling to the ground. Water splashed everywhere. Lyra rushed forward, her boots hitting the mud, her cloak fluttering. Her voice trembled with fury. "You touched him. You dared to touch Drakthar." I was only cleaning him," Eli said, holding up his hands. "He was hurt. You defiled the bond," she shouted. "That creature is my blood, my spirit." "No one touches him but me." Eli looked at the beast. Drakthar's eyes glowed softly, not in anger but in calmness. It even moved slightly between him and Lyra as if trying to protect him. The guards arrived, pointing plasma spears at Eli. The air filled with the hum of power weapons. "Arrest him," Lyra ordered. "He has insulted our ways." "Wait," Eli said, stepping back. "I didn't mean harm. A spear's tip stopped an inch from his chest. Silence, human," a guard barked. Lyra's hands trembled, her voice shaking with both anger and confusion. "You humans never understand. You think your kindness is harmless. But here it is poison." Eli's eyes hardened. "Then maybe your rules are what's poisoned." Gasps spread through the aliens. No human had ever spoken like that to a Voron warrior. Lyra's face darkened. "You will pay for those words." Drakthar growled, a low warning sound, and everyone froze. The beast slowly walked between them. Its head turned toward Lyra, then toward Eli. Its golden eyes flickered like something was changing inside. Lyra stepped back, whispering, "Why is he protecting you?" Eli didn't answer. He didn't know. The wind picked up and thunder rolled across the mountains. Lyra pointed to the guards. "Take him, before the storm breaks." As they dragged Eli away, Drakthar let out a long, mournful howl that echoed through the valley. a sound that carried both sadness and warning. From her tower later that night, Lyra looked out at the rain. The sound of thunder mixed with her thoughts. She couldn't forget the look in the beast's eyes, or the calmness it showed beside the human. Something about that moment felt wrong, or maybe too right to be ignored. Eli sat inside the metal cell listening to the storm. The floor vibrated with every roar of thunder. He looked through the bars and saw a flash of gold in the distance, eyes watching him from the dark. It was Drakthar. The creature had followed him, and for the first time, Eli wondered if his simple act of kindness had changed something far bigger than he could ever imagine. The night was long on Vorin Prime. Lightning flashed across the dark sky, and rain fell hard on the metal roofs of the alien city. The wind howled through the towers like a wounded beast. Inside the fortress, the air was thick with tension. Eli Vance, the human mechanic, sat on the cold floor of his cell. His clothes were soaked, his hands still smelled faintly of soap. Outside his cell, 2 alien guards stood silent, their glowing eyes fixed on him. He kept replaying the moment in his mind, the roar, the shouting, the look on Lyra's face. He didn't mean to cause trouble. He only wanted to help that creature, that Drakthar. Eli whispered to himself. Maybe kindness is a crime here. The cell door suddenly opened. Light flooded in, and there she was, Lyra, the alien girl whose fury had turned the camp upside down. Her silver armor shone wet from the rain, and her eyes glowed brighter than before. But her expression wasn't just anger now. It was confusion, pain, and something deeper. "You're lucky you're still alive," she said coldly. "The council wanted you executed tonight." Eli stood slowly. "Then why didn't they?" Lyra looked away for a moment. "Because he stopped them," he frowned. "He? Drakthar," she said softly. "My companion. He refused to obey my orders. He stood between you and the guards. He never disobeys me, never." Eli's eyes widened. "Then maybe he understands I was trying to help." Lyra turned sharply toward him. "No, you don't understand our bond. He is connected to my soul. If he listens to you, it means something is wrong, something unnatural." She stepped closer. "What did you do to him, human?" Eli shook his head. "Nothing, I just cleaned him." Her voice rose. "Lies, there must be something else." Before he could answer, one of the guards ran in, shouting, "Commander Lyra!" "The creature has broken the containment field." Lyra's face turned pale. "What?" Eli's heart jumped. "Drakthar?" "Yes," the guard said. "He's heading toward the human cell." The floor trembled. A deep growl echoed through the hallway, followed by heavy footsteps. The lights flickered. Lyra pulled out her plasma blade. "Stay behind me," she ordered, though her voice sounded unsure. The massive steel door at the end of the hall bent inward. Another growl, closer this time. Then, with one powerful hit, the door burst open. Drakthar filled the doorway, soaked in rain, his fur shining silver blue under the lights. His golden eyes locked directly on Eli. The guards raised their weapons, but Lyra shouted, "Don't shoot!" The beast walked forward slowly, ignoring the soldiers, ignoring Lyra. It stopped right in front of Eli's cell. For a moment, time froze. Drakthar lowered its head and made a low humming sound, like a giant purring engine. Eli stepped forward, amazed. Lyra whispered, "He's greeting you." Eli smiled faintly. "Maybe he just likes soap." Lyra didn't laugh. She watched in disbelief as Drakthar pressed its nose against the energy field separating them. Sparks flashed, but the creature didn't stop. It pushed harder until the field cracked and went dark. The guards shouted in panic, "Contain it! Contain it!" But Drakthar ignored them. It turned slightly, placing itself between Eli and everyone else, growling whenever a soldier moved closer. Lyra finally lowered her weapon. "Enough!" she shouted. Her voice trembled. "Drakthar, stand down." The beast's eyes flickered for a second, torn between its master and the human. Then slowly it backed away, giving a long, mournful growl. Eli could see the pain in Lyra's face. She was proud, strong, and fierce, but right now she looked "Must," she whispered. "He's never done that before." "You have changed something inside him," Eli said softly. "Maybe I just reminded him what kindness feels like." Lyra's eyes filled with fire again. "Don't speak as if you understand us," she snapped. "Your kind brings chaos wherever it goes. You can't help yourselves. Even your kindness destroys order." Eli stepped closer to the bars. Maybe your order needs a little humanity. She turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Hours passed. The storm outside grew louder. Eli sat back down, exhausted. Then he heard it, a soft rumble from outside his window. He peered through the small opening and saw glowing eyes in the dark again. Drakthar was lying near the wall as if guarding him. Every few minutes it would lift its head and growl softly at the guards who came too close. Eli whispered, "You shouldn't be here, buddy." The creature tilted its head, blinking slowly, as if understanding. Then something strange happened. Eli's hand brushed the metal wall, and for a brief second he felt a pulse of warmth, like a heartbeat through the steel. Drakthar's eyes flashed gold in response. He pulled his hand back, stunned. "What was that?" he muttered. The connection lasted only a moment, but he could feel emotion. Not words, not thoughts, just feelings. Calmness. Trust. Gratitude. He sat back, confused but strangely comforted. Far away in her private chamber, Lyra stood in front of a mirror. She placed her hand over the glowing mark on her wrist, the bond she shared with Drakthar. It was pulsing faintly, which shouldn't be possible unless she was near him. But Drakthar was near the human. Her reflection looked back at her, strong, proud and yet uncertain. "What are you doing?" "Drakthar," she whispered. "Why him?" She turned toward the window where lightning split the sky. Deep inside, a small part of her feared that the prophecy her mother once told her was real. The stranger who touches the beast will touch the hearts of the Vorin. Lyra clenched her fist. No, that can't be true. Outside, thunder rolled again, and somewhere in the darkness, the beast and the human shared a silent heartbeat that neither fully understood. The first light of dawn touched the mountains of Vorin Prime, turning the sky from black to pale gold. The storm had passed, leaving the world quiet but heavy with unease. The alien camp looked normal again, yet something deep beneath the calm had changed. Inside the fortress prison, Eli Vance sat awake. He hadn't slept all night. He kept thinking about the strange feeling that had passed through the wall, that pulse of warmth that connected him to Drakthar. It wasn't normal. It felt alive. He rubbed his hands together, whispering, "What are you, big guy?" A loud metallic sound broke his thoughts. The cell door opened and the same guard who had arrested him entered. "The commander wants to see you," he said sharply. Eli stood. "Lyra again?" The guard didn't answer, only gestured for him to move. As they walked through the long silver hallways, Eli noticed something strange. The usual soldiers who glared at him now kept their distance, whispering quietly to each other. When he entered the main chamber, he saw Lyra standing by the window, her cloak flowing behind her like a shadow. The light of the rising suns made her armor shine with blue fire. She didn't look angry anymore, but tense, like someone holding a storm inside. "Release him," she told the guard. The energy cuffs around Eli's wrists clicked open. He rubbed his wrists. "That's new. You're not going to shout this time?" Lyra didn't smile. "I should, but I have questions that shouting cannot answer." Eli tilted his head. "About Drakthar?" She turned sharply. "Yes, since last night he refuses to eat or rest unless he senses you nearby. My bond mark glows only when he's close to you. That should be impossible." Eli took a careful breath. "Maybe he trusts me now." Her voice tightened. "Trust does not change the bond of souls. Something has shifted, and I need to know why." She gestured to the large door behind her. "Come." Eli followed her through a corridor that led to a massive open yard, the training arena. The ground was covered in smooth black sand. At the far end stood Drakthar, chained by glowing energy bands around his neck and legs. The creature's golden eyes followed Eli instantly, ignoring everyone else. Lyra whispered, "Do you see? He waits for you." Eli stepped closer slowly. "Hey there, buddy," he said softly. Drakthar's body relaxed. His long tail brushed the sand. Then the beast lowered its head until its nose was level with Eli's chest. The Vorin scientists standing nearby murmured among themselves. One said, "No human has ever survived standing that close." Another whispered, "It's responding to his voice frequency." Lyra crossed her arms. "Try speaking again." Eli smiled nervously. "You sure it's safe?" "I'll take the risk," she said, though her tone wasn't confident. Eli took a small step forward. "You remember me, right? I helped clean you up." Drakthar blinked slowly and made a deep humming sound, like thunder in its chest. Lyra frowned. He's mimicking your rhythm. The sound pattern matches your heartbeat. Eli felt something in his chest. The same warmth from before, spreading like light. It wasn't pain, it was connection, he whispered. He can feel what I feel. Lyra looked uncertain. That's impossible. But Drakthar moved again, slowly leaning closer until its forehead almost touched Eli's. A soft glow formed between them. Faint, golden, pulsing like a heartbeat shared between two beings. The scientists gasped. Their devices beeped wildly. Lyra's voice shook. No, it can't be. The prophecy. Eli turned to her. What prophecy? She hesitated, her expression torn between pride and fear. An old story, a myth told to children. It says that one day an outsider would touch the spirit beast and awaken its second bond, a bridge between two species. Eli frowned. And you think that's me? Lyra glared. You are a human. You don't even understand the energy we live by. Maybe not, Eli said quietly. But maybe your beast does. She turned away, her voice trembling. If this bond is real, it changes everything. The council will not allow it. They will call it corruption. Before Eli could respond, an alarm rang through the arena. A voice shouted over the speakers, Commander Lyra! The council requests your presence immediately. Urgent matter. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, then looked at Eli. Stay here. Don't touch anything. She turned to leave, but Drakthar growled low, a protective sound. Lyra looked back, her heart conflicted. Fine, he stays with you. When she left, the area grew silent again. Only Eli and Drakthar remained under the soft sunlight. Eli sat down on the sand. The giant creature lay beside him, resting its massive head near his feet. He could feel the warmth of its breath, steady and calm. You're not just a beast, Eli said softly. You understand more than they think. Drakthar's golden eyes blinked slowly as if agreeing. Eli looked up at the alien sky. Guess it's just you and me now, huh? For the first time since he arrived on this strange world, Eli didn't feel alone. Meanwhile, far above the city, in the shining towers of the Vorin Council, Lyra stood before 3 elder aliens. Their robes shimmered with light and their eyes glowed white. One of them spoke, his voice cold as stone. We have received reports that your guardian beast has bonded with the human. Lyra bowed her head. It's temporary. Silence, the elder said. This is a crime against our sacred order. The bond must be broken or both will be destroyed. Lyra's breath caught. Destroyed? The creature and the human are now linked. If one dies, the other may follow. It is an infection that must be cured. Lyra's heart pounded. But Drakthar is not infected, he's changing. He's evolving. The elder leaned forward. Then the human is the catalyst. Remove him before the infection spreads. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean, kill him. The chamber fell silent. Then the elder said coldly, Yes, tonight. As the suns dipped below the horizon once more, Eli sat in the quiet arena, unaware of the council's decision. Drakthar's golden eyes glowed faintly in the dark, watching over him like a loyal guardian. The connection between them pulsed stronger with each heartbeat, a bond that was no longer just accident or kindness, but destiny itself. The twin moons of Vorin Prime hung high above the clouds, bathing the alien city in pale blue light. The wind was quiet, but tension moved through the air like an invisible storm. In the fortress tower, Commander Lyra sat alone at a crystal desk. Around her lay dozens of ancient tablets glowing softly with alien symbols. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through them, searching for the truth that had haunted her since the human came. Every story, every record pointed to one thing, the prophecy of the twin bonds. It spoke of a stranger from the stars who would wash the guardian in the water of purity and awaken a hidden power inside it. That act would join 2 souls, alien and outsider, breaking the ancient walls between species. Lyra's throat tightened. It's impossible, she thought. It's just an old myth. But then she remembered Drakthar's eyes, how they glowed gold when near Eli, how the creature had disobeyed her for the first time. She pressed her fingers against the table, whispering, What are you, human? What have you done to us? Behind her, the door opened. A shadow entered. It was Torin, one of the council's envoys and Lyra's mentor since childhood. His silver eyes were cold, unreadable. You should rest, Commander, he said. The council has made its decision. Lyra didn't look up. I already know. Then you understand, Torin replied quietly. The bond between the human and your beast must end tonight. Lyra's voice trembled. And you mean to kill him? Torin stepped closer. Do not let your emotions blind you. You've allowed this contamination to spread. If the bond continues, our entire energy network could be at risk. It's not just about pride and its survival. Lyra turned, her jaw tight. I have felt that connection too, Torin. Through Drakthar's bond mark. It's not poison, it feels alive. Pure. Danger often hides behind purity, he said coldly. You must obey. The council's soldiers will act before dawn. Lyra's voice rose. You mean an execution? Without trial. Without reason. Torin's tone sharpened. Control yourself, Commander. You've already brought shame once. Don't let compassion destroy you again. He turned and left, the door hissing shut behind him. Lyra stood still for a long time, her eyes fixed on the glowing tablets. She could hear her own heartbeat echo in the silent room. Finally, she whispered, then I'll decide my own orders. Far below, in the dark holding arena, Eli Vance sat near Drakthar, both resting in silence. The creature's soft breathing filled the air. Eli looked up at the alien stars. He still didn't understand this strange connection, but he knew one thing. Drakthar trusted him completely. He gently touched the creature's fur. A small pulse of warmth spread through his hand again like shared emotion. Calm. Comfort. Eli smiled faintly. Guess we're both prisoners now, huh? The creature blinked as if agreeing. Moments later, the door opened. Lyra entered quietly, wearing a black cloak. Her face was hidden in shadow, but her voice was low and urgent. Eli, you need to listen to me. You're in danger, he frowned. I kind of figured that already. What's going on? The council, she said. They plan to kill you before sunrise. They believe the bond is a threat to our kind. Eli stood quickly. Kill me for what? Near washing a dirty animal? Lyra's eyes flashed. He's not an animal. He's a guardian spirit, but I don't agree with them. I saw it myself, what happened between you and Drakthar. That energy isn't dark. It's something new, something powerful. Eli stepped closer. Then help me prove it. Lyra looked toward the creature, who was now watching them both carefully. If I help you escape, they'll call me a traitor. I could lose everything, Eli's voice softened. Then why are you here? Lyra looked into his eyes, human eyes, warm and honest. Because something inside me changed too. For a moment, neither spoke. Only the quiet hum of the energy walls surrounded them. Finally, she said, I know a way out. The council's power grid has a blind zone near the cliffs. I can take you there, but once you leave, you can never return. Eli hesitated. What about you? Lyra looked down. If I stay, I'll face judgment. If I go with you, I'll lose my people. Either way, I'm already lost. Before Eli could answer, Drakthar let out a deep growl, a warning. Lyra turned quickly. Guards are coming. She raised her hand, pressing a glowing crystal on her wrist. The cell walls shimmered and vanished and deactivated. Go, she said. Eli grabbed his tool pack. What about Drakthar? Lyra gave a small smile. He won't be left behind. As if understanding, the beast roared, snapping the glowing chains like paper. The walls shook. Alarms screamed through the fortress. Lyra pulled Eli toward the side passage. This way! They ran through dark tunnels as red lights flashed. Alien guards shouted orders in their language, echoing through the halls. Stop them! A voice cried from the comms. Lyra and Eli burst into the open night. The cold wind hit their faces. Far below, the valley shimmered with silver mist. Drakthar followed behind, his heavy steps shaking the ground. Plasma blasts shot past them, lighting up the sky. Run, Lyra shouted. Eli stumbled over the rocky path. You're sure this way leads out? Lyra nodded. There's a transport dock just ahead. Another explosion hit nearby. Rocks fell. Eli shielded his face. Suddenly, Drakthar jumped in front of them, roaring. Its body absorbed the blast meant for Lyra. The creature growled, hurt but unbroken. Eli looked back at the soldiers chasing them. They're not stopping. Lyra pulled him into a cave hidden under the cliffs. We rest here, just for a moment. Eli leaned against the wall, breathing hard. You really threw away everything for me. Lyra gave him a small, tired smile. No, human. Not for you. For the truth. Drakthar lay down beside them, his breathing deep but steady. The faint golden light between him and Eli pulsed again, brighter than before. Lyra stared at it, whispering to herself, "The prophecy lives." Outside, the soldiers searched the valley, unaware that the story of the twin bonds, the forbidden link between alien and human, had just begun. The sun rose slowly over Vorin Prime, painting the cliffs in shades of red and gold. The mist hung low in the valley, wrapping the land in silence. But peace was an illusion. Beneath that calm, war was waking. Eli Vance crouched near the mouth of a rocky cave, staring at the alien horizon. His clothes were torn, his hands bruised, but his mind was alert. Behind him, Lyra sat beside a small energy lamp, repairing her communicator. The faint hum filled the silence. Drakthar, the massive beast, rested nearby, his golden eyes half closed but always aware. Even in rest, his tail moved slowly, guarding his two companions. Eli glanced back. "Any signal yet?" Lyra shook her head. "No. The council must have blocked all frequencies after we escaped." He sighed. "Figures. They don't seem like the forgiving type." "They are not," Lyra said quietly. "They believe the bond between you and Drakthar is dangerous, a threat to our control." Eli frowned. "But why?" He's calmer than ever. "I didn't do anything wrong." Lyra looked up, her eyes glowing faintly in the morning light. "You did something no one has ever done before. You changed him, and maybe in some way he changed you." Eli didn't know what to say. He looked at the creature, the alien beast that now followed him like a loyal guardian. "I just showed him kindness." Lyra smiled weakly. "Sometimes kindness is the most powerful weapon." The ground trembled faintly. Drakthar's ears twitched. He lifted his head and growled. Lyra stood quickly. "They've found us." From the sky, the sound of engines filled the air. 3 silver ships appeared above the cliffs, their lights scanning the rocks. Eli grabbed his tool bag. "Any chance they're here to talk?" Lyra drew her plasma blade. "Not with the council in command." Drakthar roared, the deep sound shaking the air. The ships turned toward the noise, locking onto their position. "Move," Lyra shouted. They ran out of the cave and down the narrow ridge. Plasma bolts struck the cliffs around them, exploding into bright blue fire. Rocks flew in every direction. Drakthar leapt across a wide gap, landing with a heavy thud. Eli followed, nearly slipping, but Lyra caught his arm and pulled him up. "Keep going," she yelled over the noise. They reached a lower valley covered in strange glowing plants. Drakthar stopped suddenly and dug his claws into the ground. A low hum spread through the soil, the energy field around him pulsing. Eli turned to Lyra. "What's he doing?" Lyra's eyes widened. "Protecting us." A moment later, the earth around them shimmered, creating a shield of golden light. The next blast from the ships hit the shield and bounced away harmlessly. Eli stared in awe. "He did that?" Lyra nodded slowly. "The bond. It's growing stronger. He's using your energy too," Eli blinked. "My energy? I don't even know how that works." "It doesn't matter," Lyra said. "He feels your will, your desire to protect. That's enough." The ships circled overhead but couldn't penetrate the glowing barrier. After a few moments, they turned back toward the city. Lyra watched them fade into the sky. "They'll report our location." "We have little time." Eli exhaled, his heart still pounding. "Then we need a plan." Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "There is only one way now. The ancient archives in the ruins of Vorin's first city. It is said to hold the truth of our beginnings. If the prophecy is real, the answers will be there." Eli nodded. "Then that's where we go." They traveled for hours through rough terrain, valleys filled with glowing rivers, fields of crystal dust, and tall spires of black stone. The world felt both alive and silent as they walked. Lyra told him stories of the old Vorin legends, of the shared ones, ancient beings who could link their minds across species. Many thought it was just myth, she said softly. But now, maybe it was history. Eli listened quietly. "You think humans and Vorin were connected before?" "Perhaps," she said. "Our DNA carries traces of something old, something not purely Vorin. Scientists called it the Echo Code. We never knew what it meant." Eli frowned. "Maybe we're not so different after all." Lyra smiled faintly. "Maybe difference is only what we're taught to fear." By nightfall, they reached a ridge overlooking the ruins, a vast city half buried in silver sand. Ancient towers leaned against each other like broken teeth. Faint lights still glowed deep below the ground. Drakthar growled softly, his eyes fixed on the ruins, alert. Eli stepped forward. So this is where it all began, Lyra nodded. Yes, the first home of my ancestors. And maybe yours too. They entered the city quietly, passing through halls covered in alien carvings. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing as they walked by. Eli reached out to touch one, and a voice echoed faintly in his mind. Not words, just emotions. Memories. He gasped and stepped back. Did you hear that? Lyra shook her head. No, what did you feel? Sadness, he whispered. Like someone lost everything here. Lyra looked around. The ruins remember. In the center of the hall stood a great crystal monument, cracked but still glowing. Lyra approached it slowly and placed her hand on its surface. The crystal reacted, showing an image. 2 figures, one human and one Vorin, standing together beside a massive creature that looked like Drakthar. Eli's eyes widened. That's us, Lyra whispered. No, it's them. The first bonded pair. Before they could study more, the air trembled, the sound of ships returning. The council had found them again. Lyra turned to Eli. Take the data crystal. Eli pulled it from the monument. What about you? I'll hold them off, she said. Get Drakthar to safety. Eli shook his head. I'm not leaving you, Drakthar roared, sensing danger. The sky outside turned red with the glow of plasma fire. Lyra looked at him one last time. Then we stand together in human, alien, and beast. Let the galaxy see what unity truly means. Eli nodded, gripping the crystal tight. Let's show them what humans do best. The ruins filled with the sound of thunder as the first shots hit the ground. Dust and fire filled the air, and as the storm of war began, 3 figures, one human, one alien, and one beast, stood against the darkness, united by something stronger than fear. The ruins of the ancient city burned under the red glow of the alien sky. Thunder rumbled across the horizon as warships filled the air, their shadows stretching over the broken towers. The world itself seemed to hold its breath. Eli Vance, Lyra, and the beast Drakthar stood near the shattered monument. Around them the sand shimmered with heat from plasma fire. Every explosion felt closer than the last. They're surrounding us, Eli said, his voice tense. Lyra nodded, gripping her plasma blade tightly. They won't stop until one of us falls. The council believes killing you will end the bond. Eli clenched his jaw. Then we'll prove them wrong. Drakthar growled deeply, the golden light under his scales pulsing stronger than ever. The air around him vibrated, bending faintly as if space itself reacted to his power. Lyra turned to him. The energy link. It's growing faster. I can feel his heartbeat through mine. Eli nodded. So can I. He's angry, but not at us. Before they could move, bright beams cut through the smoke. Vorin soldiers marched forward in perfect lines, their armor gleaming under the red sky. Behind them came Torin, Lyra's former mentor. He raised his voice, calm but cold. Surrender, Commander Lyra. The council has decided. The human must die and the beast must be destroyed. Lyra's voice trembled with fury. You call this justice? You fear what you don't understand. Torin's expression didn't change. Understanding has no place in survival. He raised his hand. Fire. Blue plasma bolts shot through the air. The blasts hit the sand where Eli stood, but a golden wall of light erupted in front of him, stopping every shot. The soldiers stumbled back in shock. Drakthar roared, his body glowing brighter than ever. Energy waves rippled outward, knocking the soldiers off their feet. Eli looked around, eyes wide. He's protecting us again. Lyra stared at the creature, awe and fear mixing in her face. No, he's evolving. The bond has unlocked something ancient. Drakthar's eyes burned like suns. When he roared again, the sound wasn't just heard, and it was felt. Every Vorin in the area froze, clutching their chests. The air shimmered with invisible force. Eli felt it too, emotions flooding his mind that weren't his own. Pain, loyalty, love. He gasped. He's showing them his feelings. Lyra's voice broke. He's trying to make them understand. Torin staggered back, shouting, "Contain it!" Now the soldiers fired again. This time the energy struck Drakthar directly. The beast cried out, a terrible sound that echoed through the ruins. "Stop!" Eli shouted. He ran toward the creature, ignoring the heat and smoke. He pressed his hand against its massive side, his heart pounding. "You're not alone, buddy." "I'm here." Drakthar's light flickered weakly. Lyra ran to Eli's side, her eyes glowing bright with power. "Eli, the bond, use it. Focus on him." Eli closed his eyes. He didn't know how, but he reached deep inside himself, into that strange warmth he had felt since the day he washed the creature. The connection burst open like fire in his chest. A beam of gold shot from his hands into Drakthar's body. The creature's eyes flared open again, brighter than the sun. Lyra gasped. "It's working." Drakthar stood tall, his energy forming wings of light behind him. The ground shook violently. The ruins around them cracked and split. Torin shouted, "Fall back! Fall back!" But it was too late. The wave of golden light exploded outward, sweeping across the battlefield. It didn't burn, it revealed. Every alien who touched the light saw flashes of memory, humans helping, laughing, living, and old images of their ancestors standing beside creatures like Drakthar. The soldiers froze, their weapons lowering. Confusion filled their faces. Lyra's voice echoed across the ruins. "See the truth. We were never enemies. We were family once." Torin staggered forward, his pride crumbling. "Impossible. This cannot be real." "It is," Lyra said. "You just refuse to see it." Drakthar roared one last time, sending a final wave of light into the sky, and then his energy faded. The great beast fell to its knees, exhausted. Eli ran to him. "Drakthar, stay with me!" The creature's breathing slowed. Its golden eyes dimmed, but a faint warmth remained. Eli felt the connection still there, weak but alive. Lyra knelt beside them, tears shining in her eyes. "He's done it. He's shown them everything." Eli looked around. The soldiers had stopped firing. Many had dropped to their knees, their glowing eyes flickering with emotion. The war had paused, but then a sharp alarm echoed across the sky. Lyra looked up. Her expression turned to horror. "No, the Council's ship. They're initiating an orbital strike." Eli stared at her. "They're going to bomb their own people?" "They want to erase the truth," Lyra said, voice shaking. "If they destroy the ruins, no one will ever know what happened here." Drakthar let out a weak growl as if understanding. Eli stood and clenched his fists. "Then we'll stop them." Lyra nodded, determination blazing in her eyes. Together. They turned toward the highest tower, the old beacon of the first city, where the ancient transmitters still lay. Eli grabbed the data crystal from his belt. "We send the truth before they strike." Lyra took a deep breath. Let the galaxy see what humanity really means. Behind them, Drakthar struggled to stand again, light flickering across his body like fire refusing to die. The storm had broken, but the real battle was only beginning. The ancient city lay in ruins, glowing faintly under the storm-torn sky. Smoke drifted across shattered towers. The air carried the heavy scent of dust, ozone, and fear. Above the horizon, the Council's warship hovered like a dark moon, its cannons charging with silent, deadly light. Eli Vance stood at the base of the tallest spire, gripping the data crystal in his hand. His body ached, his clothes were torn, but his eyes burned with purpose. Beside him, Lyra stared up at the sky, her violet eyes reflecting the ship's glow. "They're going to erase everything," she said quietly. "All the proof and all the truth." Eli looked at her. "Then we send it before they do." Behind them, Drakthar stood on trembling legs. His silver-blue scales were dim, his breath slow, but he was still alive. The golden mark on his chest pulsed faintly, a heartbeat shared between human, alien, and beast. Lyra placed her hand on the old beacon's control panel. "This tower is ancient. If we link it to your crystal, the transmission will reach every colony on this side of the galaxy." Eli nodded. "Then let's make sure they all see the truth." He connected the crystal to the beacon. Blue light spread across the console, old systems coming to life after centuries of silence. Symbols lit up in the air like stars forming a constellation. Lyra typed in the final command. "Ready?" Eli looked toward Drakthar. The creature met his gaze, eyes glowing faint gold. "Yeah," Eli said softly. "We're ready." The beacon rose higher, its broken antenna extending toward the clouds. Lightning flashed behind it, turning the sky white. The Council ship above shifted position. A cold voice echoed across the comm network. "Commander Lyra of the Vorin, you have violated the ancient code. Surrender the human or face destruction." Lyra pressed the comm. "You've already destroyed enough. The truth will speak for itself. Then you will burn with it, the voice replied. A red targeting beam locked onto the city. The hum of the orbital cannon grew louder, a sound like the heartbeat of death. Eli looked up, then back at the console. Lyra, we're running out of time. I just need 30 more seconds, she shouted, fingers flying across the controls. The tower shook as small plasma blasts hit nearby buildings. Stones rained down. Drakthar stepped forward, spreading his claws wide, shielding them both from the debris. Eli grabbed a support beam to stay steady. He's buying us time. Keep going! Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her hands trembling as she activated the final sequence. Transmission in progress. The beacon burst with golden light. Streams of data, images, memories, and truth shot into the sky, connecting with satellites and communication relays. Across the galaxy, every screen, every hologram, every military display flickered with the same vision. Humans and Vorin standing side by side. Ancient and new, connected through compassion and courage. It showed Drakthar, protecting both species. It showed Eli risking everything not for power but for kindness. And it showed Lyra defying her people for what was right. The message echoed across worlds. Understanding is not weakness. Compassion is strength. Inside the warship, the council leaders watched in silence. Their command room was filled with the light of the broadcast. The truth they had tried to bury now shining before every citizen. Cut the signal, one shouted. It's too late, said another. The whole network has it. The elder leader slammed his fist on the console. Then destroy them now. From space, the orbital cannon fired. A massive beam of red energy cut through the clouds, heading straight for the city. Lyra turned toward Eli. It's coming. He looked at the sky. The beam glowed brighter, roaring like fire from the heavens. There was no time to run, but Drakthar roared louder. The golden mark on his chest flared like a sun. Energy surged through his body, light, pure, and burning. Eli's chest tightened. No, Drakthar, don't. The beast looked at him, and through the bond Eli felt everything. The calm, the love, the choice. Drakthar spread his wings of light and leapt upward, meeting the red beam head-on. The explosion shook the world. For a few seconds there was nothing but white light. The ground split. The beacon trembled. Then silence. When the light faded, the warship was gone, its cannon shattered by the backlash of energy. Smoke drifted across the sky. The ruins below still stood. Eli fell to his knees. Drakthar. Lyra looked up at the fading glow in the clouds. The last pulse of gold shimmered, like a heartbeat fading into the stars. She whispered, He saved us. Eli clenched his fists. He saved everyone. Days later, peace talks began between humans and Vorin. The transmission had reached every corner of the galaxy, and no one could deny the truth anymore. Eli and Lyra stood together before a great gathering of both species. Between them was a monument carved from stone and crystal of Drakthar, wings spread wide looking toward the stars. Lyra placed her hand on the statue's heart. He showed us that understanding doesn't destroy strength, it defines it. Eli nodded. He was more than a beast. He was the bridge between worlds. For a moment, the wind passed through the valley, soft and warm, and both of them felt a faint echo deep inside, like the heartbeat of something still watching over them. Lyra smiled faintly. Do you think he's still out there? Eli looked at the sky. No, he said softly. He's everywhere now. The two stood in silence as the suns rose over Vorin Prime. A new day had begun. A day without war, without fear. And in that light, the galaxy finally understood the lesson Drakthar had died to teach. Sometimes, all it takes to change the stars is a single act of kindness.